Blessings, welcome in. I hope everyone is doing well. I am Mel. I appreciate you all being here, who have been watching, following, listening. I appreciate your listening and your just showing up in this reality that I choose to consciously create with. And I appreciate you all who enjoy venturing into these realms with me and working through these energies. So thank you. So I've been noticing this energy coming in, and which is very normal. It's very normal for this time of year, this particular part of the season. There's a great call from the ancestors. And I know for me, in the work that I do, I start to hear the song of the ancestors calling me to gather, to prepare. And we can see this, this is the harvest season. We're harvesting for the winter, preparing for what we have the sickle, harvesting the wheat. The information, the knowledge, the teachings, the lessons that we've learned throughout the other seasons. What I would like to address is we're now in October, right? And depending on your belief systems, religions, etc., you know the timing of seasons and what occurs, and it happens every year. And we're coming up onto Samhain. Samhain is a very important time period, at least for me. And those who identify as psychopomps, those who identify as veil walkers, doulas, death doulas. It's a huge transitioning point. So what happens is the ancestors start to call me and the energy comes through, and I'll start being drawn to particular songs, music, very tribal in nature. Very tribal in nature, that brings us back to our roots, brings us back to our seed points, our origins. It's nostalgic in many ways. But the song of the ancestors, when it calls you, is very hard to deny. There is a preparation period where we are getting ready and we're all gathering, those that do this type of work as far as psychopomping. Around Halloween, what we consider in the United States or the West or what have you, we have All Saints Day, which is considered a transitioning point, allowing souls to transition from this realm to the next safely. It's a way of honoring the dead and helping them journey to the afterlife, the other realm, the nethers, the ethers, however you perceive it, okay? When we come up to this time, there are many of us who are guides for those souls. Those who have passed within this time frame, and those who have passed long ago and have been wandering dimensional spaces and realms. It's kind of like a portal space. It's a very beautiful opening to allow the dead to speak and to transition onto their next life, whether that is incarnation or the spiritual realm, and then they take their positioning as being guides, caretakers, mentors, etc. Some of us, what I'm trying to explain is it's a very prolific time period of transitioning from life to death in order to rebirth. And we are here to help support those that are transitioning. Okay? This happens every year. I go through this stage and I start to hear the ancestors even more clearly and deeper, and they come through song. They call me forth, like stating, it's time. It's time to step into your role as a comforter, as a transitional facilitator. In order to harvest. Yeah, I don't like that phrase, and I know many people don't like that phrase. I understand that, but it's not understood by many. The separation of wheat from the chaff, the harvesting, and many people have a aversion to the word harvesting. You know, you hear those phrases, harvesting of souls, harvesting of light. People automatically go, it's louche. Well, no, not really. When you start to see the multidimensionality of experience and the lives that we live, and are yet to live, instead of saying harvesting, when we harvest fruits, vegetables, we are taking that energy and we are storing away to have some type of resource in a time of possibility of lack or need, right? So it's a preparation, a gathering. Let's see it as a gathering versus a harvesting of resources, energies. Purifying the essence and alchemizing in order to heal. Okay. Every time I come into these discussions with a particular intention, and spirit kind of like just overhauls, and it's like, nope, we're gonna go this route. What I wish to state is those that are called and are being called and summoned by the ancestors within these now moments. You can feel it, you can sense it, it's shown to you. It's this energetic, it moves through you, it breathes through you. And it's something that's so intense that you can't resist it because you know it's part of your calling. The listener. this time period of transition, and we know what happens when, hence why we harvest, right? Hence why we gather prior to the winter, is to prepare, because there is famine, there is death, it's an imprint of life, an acceptance of that, recognizing that those transitional spaces recognizing you have the ability to assist others through their transitioning into the afterlife. You know, we don't want to face that nothing, you know, the only thing that is constant is change. But recognizing that life, death, and rebirth is the natural cycle. So we can fight against the cycle and say, I don't want to accept it. I don't want to admit it. I want to sit in grief. I don't want to feel this. It's understanding you have a choice to participate in that cycle. When inevitability is showing its face, you have a choice. Do you assist with the transition, or do you fight against it, causing yourself more grief of what you inevitably know is going to occur? Or do you choose to be a conscious creator and be the guide, be the assistance, be the loving, caring, nurturing individual in which you are, to assist those that struggle with the idea of death? If you're sensing more tribal aspects coming into your field within this now moment, it's a migration period. It's a seasonal exodus, so to speak. There is a long, huge transitioning period that occurs during these moments and coming within this month. Preparing for the death, but then the new life of when the sun comes back and is reborn within the winter solstice. When you can recognize and see these transitional spaces, whatever happens and occurs, ultimately recognize new life is birthed from that transitional space. Light, the lantern, the mystic. So I just wanted to address, if you're being called and you hear the song of the ancestors, if you hear the song within the ley lines, within the dragon lines, the distaff, you're being called to step into roles that you've done for lifetimes. You know it like the back of your hand. You may not be aware that you're doing it within this now moment or your everyday life. You're actually working and doing these things within dream state. There are times that if you ever recognize that you get extremely tired and you kind of like trance out, you kind of go off like and sleep, but you're not actually sleeping. It's because your higher self is taking over and you're doing other work in other dimensions. You're off grid somewhere. You're working in other dimensional spaces. And what happens is the body has to shut down so that you come out of conscious awareness in order to do the work that you are. Yeah, rest. Yes. It's like the higher self takes over, okay? And then you come back into conscious awareness, and then the memory trickles in, and then you have an understanding of what you've been doing, where you were, what you remember. But it's a necessary process, because if you were consciously aware while your higher self was doing the work that it is, you would be like, I can't fucking handle this shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's the alchemy. It needs to happen. But just trust that what's going on is ultimately what is meant to be. So those that are standing at the crossroads and are about to walk in between worlds to help these souls transition to the afterlife. But then there are others that are psychopomping and bringing in these new souls as other souls leave this plane. Okay? Doulas, whether you see it as a death doula or a birth doula. I've always been shown that the transitioning within Samhain, and Samhain actually runs in Celtic cultures for the whole month of November. It's not just like Halloween. But in our Western cultures, we see it as October 30th, which is said to be the night that many of us go into our psychopomping to help souls transition to the afterlife. I'm hearing reaching totality. And then there's the cornucopia of abundance, wealth, prosperity, the fruits. This is the harvest, okay? The harvest. The work that we've done in order to complete the harvest, okay? To bring in this abundance and new growth. All these new seeds that we can plant in the spring brings forth these new sprouts, right? But in order for new life, there has to be a cutting away of what no longer serves, death, etc. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that there. That's, if it makes sense, that's fabulous. If it doesn't make sense, disregard it. Alchemist and the soothsayer. Okay. I just wanted to bring up those particular energies because I was being called by the ancestors, and I've been going into particular songs that are very tribal in essence. Song, sound, vibration, drumming. There's this inherent calling that reverberates within the body because it's offering us something in order to heal. When I hear the ancestors, I know it's time, and it's time to step into whatever that role is. And that role might not be like, it might just be intimate between you and spirit, you and your ancestors. Doesn't mean the whole world has to see what you're doing and know what you're doing. Storyteller. It's you knowing what calls you. What is the song that reverberates and regenerates and vibrates and emanates? The abundance of what is inherently blueprinted within your DNA. It's that instinctual knowing. I'm being called to step into this aspect of myself within this now moment, because I've been preserving this within my DNA and my lineage. My ancestors are calling me to help others go home. So, yeah. I hope this makes sense. If it resonates, please let me know. If it doesn't, it's okay too. I send you all off with much love, many blessings on your journeys, forwards, upwards, downwards, backwards, and in between. The wayfarer, the traveler. Take care.